welcome to the 1224 podcast. I'm Kate.
And I'm Shay.
And we're here to talk to you about everything animation. This is really exciting, though.
This is a very interesting episode.
A very interesting episode. We're already getting started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, shall we address, the most obvious thing that's happening right now?
The fact that we're staring at each other from a distance. Not like a long distance, but like there's a big table in front of us right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're having a staring contest for context, y'all.
Yeah, this is gonna be really weird. Oh no.
No.
I'm bumping things.
It's okay.
Yeah, this is our first episode in person.
Woot woot.
We see each other in person a lot, actually.
Yeah.
We just never recorded in person.
No, but not at all.
Because every time I record, it's always the summer when I go home. So.
Mm-hmm. Or some kind of break.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we are busy college students.
We're very busy.
Yeah.
I don't live in the state I go to college in. There's a bunch of different reasons why, but
out-of-state students, shout out to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is very exciting.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Very fun. Now, all my little, weird recording tics will now be seen by people.
Love that. Oh my gosh, yeah. It's such a weird feeling now recording after 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we started 2020 spring.
Yeah, which makes sense why we wouldn't see each other.
Yeah.
Then
season 2 was...
It was over the summer.
Yeah, over the summer of the next year or something.
Yeah, or yeah.
Yeah.
And then we recorded the first episode this season before I came back. And then it was our first semester and everything got really busy. Yeah,
that last fall semester was a mess, so that's why we weren't able to record in person.
Yeah, or together.
Right, exactly.
But we're back. I mean, we're still technically on break right now. But
until Tuesday, because we both don't have classes on Mondays. As we're recording this on a Sunday.
Yeah, but yeah, so we're recording in person. Episodes are going to change. I think we already said this at some point. They're going to change to 1 month. 1 episode per month. So then we're not rushing them out as much. And we have we don't feel as stressed to do everything on top of our schoolwork. Just because it's our last semester. We're both graduating.
Woo.
So
senior life.
Yeah. So we would like to prioritize that more than this podcast. We mainly do it for fun. But yeah.
Yeah, we got a system finally. We have a schedule.
We have a system.
Yeah.
Got an editor. We
got an editor. We got the equipment. We did it. We're being somewhat professional at this point.
Yeah, so the next few episodes we'll be recording in person, which will be very fun.
So exciting. We'll see how this process goes. It's already been really so cool.
Yeah, will we hate each other at the end?
Who knows?
Why did we both say that?
Because it's that 1224 power, I think.
But yeah, that's our first housekeeping.
Yeah.
Thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, well, before we get started into our episode that we'll be talking about today, we just want to mention a specific moment that is happening right now as we are recording this podcast episode, in terms of the mass shooting that is happening in Monterey Park, California. It happened last night during a Lunar New Year celebration, where there is a big Asian population and also a Latino population, which is still mostly an Asian population, but we are here to acknowledge the victims who were killed and injured during this mass shooting. As the 1224 podcast, stands against injustices like this, we are here to honor the victims as well as continue the work that we do, not only talking about animation, but as well as uplifting marginalized identities in animation, as well as the communities that we identify with. So we will put out resources in the descriptions below to give y'all ways to support the AAPI community specifically, that with the situation going on, we also want to acknowledge other injustices that have happened the past year, now that we're heading into this new year. So, as frustrating as the world and country gets, we are still here to speak out and speak up against injustices that are happening, not only around us, but just, the world itself. So,
yeah, and it shouldn't also take a tragic event to do so, either to prompt people to recognize injustices towards different communities either.
Yes.
But just because the day that we're recording this happened last night, we want to acknowledge that at the very least.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, this episode won't be posted till February, but this is just as a reminder to folks to remember about 1224's message, as well as continuing to stand up for what's right.
Yeah.
So, thank you all.
Thank you.
Cool. Moving on. So today's episode, Shay, we're going to be talking about somebody who is, I guess, somebody's favorite, and he's kind of fearless.
Somebody once told me this guy was I don't know. He wears some very cool footwear, very cool hat, very cool cape, but also he's a cat. I did not mean for that to rhyme.
Wait, I didn't even realize until now. That's bars right there.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in the studio anyways, so.
Yeah, love that for you.
Yeah.
Can you spin another bar? It's okay, no. I'm just the same, it's okay.
Boots and cats. Puss in Boots is back.
Oh. Snaps. Yes, love. So today's episode, we'll be talking about Puss in Boots, specifically The Last Wish.
Puss in Boots laughs in the face of death. Bounty hunter.
Everyone thinks you'll be the one to defeat me. But no one's escaped me yet.
All right, let's get it over with.
Yeah. Can't do this.
Why? What happened?
I don't know. It's just weird because I keep seeing you. We're just staring at each other.
I know. None of y'all can see this, but I'm moving as I'm talking, and it's as a voice actor, I shouldn't be moving as much.
No, she's moving. I keep bumping into things. It's very fun.
This is the process of what it means to record in person.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Yeah, we saw Puss in Boots 2.
Would you like to explain kind of the premise?
Oh yeah,
of the film?
I guess I am the most qualified to talk about Puss in Boots out of the two of us.
Correct.
So Puss in Boots 2 is basically Puss. He is damn, I'm on my last life because cats have 9 lives. And so Death is hunting him down, and then he finds out about, the thing where it's wishing on a shooting star. And so basically him and then a bunch of other fairy tale characters are trying to get this last wish. Yeah, that's the best I can describe it. I'm not.
That was a good premise, though.
Okay, good. I don't know how to describe anything.
No, that was great. That was a good, general, synopsis. So, who is Puss in Boots? DreamWorks, right? From DreamWorks.
So, DreamWorks Animation made this very, small indie movie. I don't know if you know it. It's called Shrek 2.
Rings a bell. It rings a bell.
Know,
right. Wasn't it a green ogre?
No.
Oh, okay. I must be thinking of something else.
But yeah, it was a green ogre.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so Puss in Boots showed up in the second Shrek movie. I'm a bit of a Shrek historian.
Yes.
Right next to my very, very coveted title as the Wiggle Storian.
Yeah.
In our friend group, and the Monster High historian.
You need badges we need to give you badges or something for all these things.
I'm I don't even have my PhDs hung up on the wall. You know how sad that is?
I know.
I gotta let the people know.
Right, exactly.
I'm intelligent.
You are.
My brain is so big.
Love that for you.
Yeah,
love
it's
that for
hitting
you.
the ceiling
It's
right
hitting
now.
Yeah, we can hear it. I don't know if y'all can hear it.
It's scraping. We have really good mics.
Yeah, we do. We really do.
But Puss in Boots, well, he's originally a fairy tale character. Like most Shrek characters are.
Yeah.
All the characters in this one, except for 2 are.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he was introduced in Shrek 2 as the hitman who's gonna kill Shrek. Enemies to besties.
Love that trope. Love that trope for them.
And then he showed up as like a mainstay for the rest of the series.
Mhm.
But then also he had a first spin-off movie just called Puss in Boots. I'm the only
Love
one who's
that.
seen that of the two of us.
I have not seen it. I haven't seen the first one.
It's like decent.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the sequel's better, but like that's like a DreamWorks thing anyway. So.
Yeah, we'll talk more into that.
Yeah, but yeah, you know, he's a cat who wants to kill people, but then he like mellowed out. So like that's the context of the character. He's voiced by Antonio Banderas.
My boy.
I'm so sorry if I mispronounced that.
It's okay.
I'm an ignorant American.
No, because same.
Yeah.
We all have our moments.
But
no worries.
I think that's like all the main context for him just in general as a character. Because everything else for the movie, you don't have to watch the first one to watch the second one.
Right.
Like, you really only have to watch the first Puss in Boots, mainly for context on Kitty Softpaws, who's another character in it. But for the most part, you don't have to. I will say, in this podcast, I might reference the first movie a bit and spoil the first movie. I mean, we're going to spoil the second one too. So
yeah, spoilers ahead, y'all.
Like, I don't know why you're here if you don't want to spoil it for a movie that's probably out of theaters by the time this is posted.
Right.
So, that's a you problem.
Go see it somewhere else. I mean, actually, from what I've read on Wikipedia, it'll be on Peacock, and then it'll be on, after a few more months, it'll go on Netflix, and then back to Peacock.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it's such a weird, it was like a weird deal that was made by Netflix or something like that.
Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
I mean, I already, like, talk smack about streaming services.
Right.
So I'm gonna, like, not do that.
We'll have it in an episode.
I mean, also because, like,
yeah,
I need a job.
Valid, though.
Yeah, but,
yeah.
I mean, granted, it's, like, I don't think, like, like, in that case, I don't think that's a very smart, like, tactic.
Yeah,
to get,
also
like,
agree.
Stuff, like, get people to buy your streaming service and subscribe to it.
Right, yeah. Feel free to take this as a grain of salt, just because I read this from a Wikipedia page and it doesn't necessarily have a link, but also, like, you know, before listening to this episode, just make sure to watch this film if you don't want to get spoiled, basically.
Yeah, like, that's a very long way of saying spoilers ahead.
Yeah.
Watch at your own discretion.
I love our spoiler warnings being,
this
like,
is the first
2
time we've
minutes.
ever done one. I realize.
Oh, good. So, just to give y'all, like, behind-the-scenes work, apparently Puss in Boots, like, The Last Wish, plans for it started in November 2012.
I remember reading about that.
Right?
Because I like going on not reliable source, not Wikipedia. I like going on TV tropes, so it's even worse.
Valid. Oh, man. I want to shake your hand in solidarity for, like, looking at, like... Yes, we did it.
Yay.
We shook hands, y'all.
Yeah, like, barely, but, like...
for looking at unreliable sources.
Yeah. But, yeah, no, they're talking about, like, the development, because it was... I think if I remember, the premise was still very similar.
Yeah.
But, like, it was just, like, the meat of it was very different.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, they called it, like, Puss in Boots, like, the 9 Lives and something like that, right?
Which still goes hard as a title.
It is, though. That would have been cool.
I'm like, I like The Last Wish.
Yeah.
That's a little boring.
Yeah. It's just literally the legend.
Yeah, like...
Yeah.
Puss in Boots, because it was Puss in Boots 2, 9 Lives. I was like, honestly, if it was just Puss in Boots 9 Lives, I would have been like, okay.
Awesome swag.
I'm like, let's go.
Let's go,
vroom,
vroom. Vroom. Charlie XCX.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like, I don't know, like, I low-key just read this now, just today, before recording this, because
oh my god, research queen.
I know, right? Last minute research. But, like, apparently, like, I'm gonna pronounce his name wrong. Guillermo del Toro. That's the last name.
Guillermo del Toro. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
Please forgive us.
Please forgive us. We're so bad at pronouncing things,
yeah,
y'all. Guillermo del Toro. Yes. Okay. I'll stick with that.
Okay.
Because apparently he was a part of it during that time, and then I don't know. And then also, like, Chris Miller was the director at the time from, like, you know, Lord and Miller. And then it was weird. I don't know if they dropped out of it because it kind of makes sense with the projects that they were working on. But also, like, then 2018, also Bob Ricchetti, too, was there at the time, who was one of the directors for Spider-Verse.
Oh.
Yeah, which was, like, really interesting. And it kind of makes sense with, like, you know, the animation that you see in Puss in Boots.
Oh, we'll talk about the animation.
Ooh, we'll talk about that soon.
Yeah.
But then, like, 2018, the executive producer now for this film, I don't think I have his name, but it's the founder of Illumination, who's the executive producer.
Oh, yeah, because isn't DreamWorks and Illumination are, like, together? Like,
are they?
One of them owns each other, I think.
Okay. Because remember, we saw Universal. We watched this in theaters, by the way.
Yeah.
Together.
Universal, I think, is with Illumination.
That makes sense, actually.
Yeah, because the Despicable Me stuff, they have, like, the minions singing.
Right,
Universal
yeah. Thing. Okay, yes, okay,
yeah,
I
think
remember
one
that.
of them bought each other.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened.
That's what I like to call monopolies.
Yeah, I don't know who bought who, though. So, like...
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, because I thought The Bad Guys was an Illumination film.
Interesting.
Before, like, I realized it was a DreamWorks film.
Yeah. They kind of overlap with the projects that they make sometimes, low key. But I'm glad to see DreamWorks going into a good direction. Hopefully, they stick with that way.
Yeah.
But Puss in Boots' Last Wish is they replaced the directors like a little later after that. It's Joel Crawford and Januel Mercado, which he's Filipino, which is pretty cool. I was like, oh, I didn't know that. It's kind of neat.
Oh.
Love that. Yes. Representation. Love that for them. But I don't know. It just made me just seeing that like starting point in 2012. It took a whole decade. Like, are you surprised that it took that long?
Okay. Granted, I'm that person who, like, you know how I just watch things just to watch things? So sometimes I just watch, like, the most random movie that, like, no one has seen. And I'm like, oh, yeah, look at this.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, because, like, I think it's surprising, but also, like, knowing how many movies they put on the back burner.
Right.
Like, I'm not, like, super surprised. It's, like, that, and then also, like, just knowing, like, the whole, like, Thief and Cobbler movie situation. Okay, so there's this movie called The Thief and the Cobbler, just as a tangent.
Yeah, sorry. I was looking at them really confusingly for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, there's a movie called Thief and the Cobbler. Why can't I remember who made it? This is embarrassing.
No, it's fine.
No, I should know this because my animation major, we learned about this.
Oh, okay.
I'm very embarrassed.
No, it's fine.
Meh, it's casual. Anyway, so, like, basically, that movie got passed around. It was, like, never technically completed. Because it was animated on ones, which is, like, 24 frames per second.
Right.
But, so, like, it was very beautiful looking and everything. But basically, they kept shopping the movie around, so, like, Miramax got the rights.
Oh.
And then also, like, is the Miramax version the version... I don't remember if it's the version where, like, they did, like, the weird voice recordings and, like, the creator... Why can't I remember? Because he's the guy who did the animation survival kit book. This is gonna bother me. I'm gonna remember after we record. No. But basically, like, it was shopped around. It was, like, it took, like, so long to make because of, like, the animation time frame and everything. Which is why there's, like, so many cuts. So there's, like, the Miramax cut, there's the recobbled cut, which is, like, supposed to be the original vision and everything. So, long story short, I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah. I'm the same way, too. That makes sense, actually, because, like, I don't know, like, I understand, like, animation takes a long time, and, like, you know, it evolves because, you know, it's a technology, it's a science, you know, besides being, like, an art creative, like, thing, but also, like, you know, seeing stuff like Spider-Verse, right, and recent movies, too, like, that takes a long time.
Yeah, it takes a long time, and also I think Puss in Boots, like, especially since, like, the reason why it took so long was more so pre-development stuff, too.
Right, exactly.
Versus, like, final. Like, that's when, like, not as surprised. Right. If it was final, I'd be like, that's a little crazy.
Yeah, right.
But, like, since it was mostly, like, pre-development and also just, like, shopping around, that's why I'm not like, oh, that took a decade. I'm like, that took a decade.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's just, I think it's also just shocking because we've had DreamWorks films in the past few years, of course, but it hasn't
Right.
been such a crazy big impact. Where we felt like DreamWorks was coming back until The Bad Guys, and even then, with that movie, that took until it went on streaming.
Oh yeah.
Well, and from
Mhm.
my own experience,
Hmm.
because Puss in Boots, I think, is the first DreamWorks movie in a while where I was I'm gonna go see this in theaters
Yeah, for sure.
too. Because Bad Guys, again, I was very oh yeah, it looks cool, but I don't
Mhm.
personally I didn't feel compelled to go watch in theaters because I don't know, it didn't capture me as much, and also promo wise, and didn't get a lot of stuff for it either, which sucks.
For sure.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think that's why also I'm it's interesting.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because we're past kind of the Shrek Prime specifically
Mm-hmm.
too.
Yeah, no. I personally liked The Bad Guys because I saw it in theaters and it was really fun. I watching the trailer, I was like, oh, this is a fun little animated movie, and I'm glad that DreamWorks is kind of now taking their stuff seriously.
Mhm.
I didn't know specifically what's the premise of The Bad Guys is going to be. I think it's a legit cool good story, and the animation is just as good.
Mhm.
But then when it comes to when I think of DreamWorks stuff, I was oh yeah, I love Shrek, and then Kung Fu Panda, right? And then their past projects with Trolls and Boss Baby.
I always forget Boss Baby's DreamWorks. I always want to make it Illumination.
Is it no? Actually, though, because it's Illumination energy.
Yeah, because I think that's what it is. Because all of the DreamWorks movies, I don't process them as DreamWorks movies. Because DreamWorks, well, I grew up in the early 2000s.
Love, same.
Yeah, it's we're born the same year.
Same year. Maybe. Who knows?
But
it's a mystery.
I think it's also just because too, with the DreamWorks movies that were coming out,
yeah,
it didn't necessarily I mean, of course I'm older, right? And I know things aren't made for me, but also I watch preschool shows. I'm a little stupid, so
you're not.
So but I think it's because a lot of these DreamWorks movies too, I'm I have such a strong thing where I'm I know I'm not the target demographic, and I'm my personal movie tastes and humor aren't meshing with the newer ones,
right?
So that was a just a personal thing, right? Also, I forgot to mention this. I technically haven't watched The Bad Guys. Technically.
Yeah, I was there when it happened.
Yeah, we were. I don't know if I mentioned it in my solo. I think I briefly mentioned in my solo.
Yeah,
episode.
I think I remember. Yeah.
I fell asleep because I was really tired that day.
No, that's fair. We did a double feature, and there's a lot going on in both films, so it's totally understandable.
Yeah, no, the little I saw, I did though.
Yeah, it's a fun film, and it definitely stands out from the other just DreamWorks films, just in general too, because it's a lot more cartoony versus when you see things like Shrek or even How to Train Your Dragon, right?
Yeah,
it's a lot more not realistic, but more different.
Yeah. But I think it's just because recently it felt like a DreamWorks movie where I just saw everyone talking about with Puss in Boots.
Right, same.
That's what I'm saying. Because of course I hear stuff about Trolls. I've seen Trolls. It's fine.
Trolls.
I like it. It's fine.
Yeah.
But Puss in Boots is the first one in a while where everyone was talking about it.
Yeah.
And it's deserved.
100%. Yeah. Literally, if y'all are sticking with the podcast and have listened to previous seasons, my friend Chaz, right, our special guest, Chaz,
our special guest of season 2, unofficial third member, of the podcast,
exactly. He'll make an appearance later this season, but he literally, we always catch up when I'm back home, but he literally tells me, you have to see Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I do not care. It is the best movie of the year. And I was like, okay, cool, yeah. I was nodding. I was like, right. I've heard some things, but when thinking about Puss in Boots, in my head, I'm just okay, the cat from Shrek, right? He was fear me if you dare, that guy, right? Yeah,
how that's the one thing you remember. I never. The thing is, I remember the catchphrase,
Yeah.
But whenever I think of like Puss in Boots in the Shrek universe, I literally
Mhm.
think about like all the weird parts of like Shrek 2 that happen with him. So like him getting arrested,
Oh my god.
which is awful.
Love.
And
Oh
then
my
like when he falls off the horse,
You-
or like when he's trying to murder Shrek.
Right? Oh my god. We have to rewatch Shrek 2.
Do a Shrekathon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. I'm down. Hands down. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's kind
I'm
of
so
funny.
sorry.
No, it's okay. I like it's interesting to see what people think of like Puss in Boots Before the Last Wish. Just because I didn't really think too much about it, and I didn't see the first one, obviously. So, but yeah, this film really like blew me away basically,
Yeah.
and made me like really care about the character. Like I have a different opinion than I was, before watching it.
Mhm.
I'm a changed person now, Shay.
That's crazy. Hi, new Kate.
Hello, Shayla. I'm a new person.
I'm so sorry. Half of this episode is gonna be us like giggling.
Yeah, we're just like waving. We're being silly right now as we're recording
we're
this.
waving.
But yeah, I mean, I think we can like, with that being said, just really quick, like I just kind of like wonder how like the stages of production were during that whole decade in my
Yeah, I mean, because
yeah.
the first Puss in Boots came out in 2011,
Oh wow.
which I thought it was a little after, but then I thought about it because, like, yeah, no, I was a kid
Yeah,
when I saw.
right.
I don't remember. I don't know if I saw it in theaters actually. I might have.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't take any interest in like, I was like I just watched the trailer. I remember seeing the trailer and I just remember that one specific cat going like, "Ooh."
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, no, I remember that cat because on the playground we all do the whole thing like all the time because we were annoying little children. I might have saw it in theaters, but
Right.
I also watched it like this past year. That's why I'm like I remember everything that happens in the first movie.
Love that.
But yeah, no, because
Yeah.
the first one, I think the general consensus is that like it's a good spin-off movie. It's not like anything spectacular.
Got it.
So,
Yeah.
like it's like fun and it's like a fun
Mhm.
movie.
Right. Yeah.
But,
So
yeah.
so yeah, like that, like it makes me wonder, like, oh wow, I'm also glad that they kind of just like took their time with it with
Yeah.
development. Like, we're kind of already kind of just, inferring what has happened like during production before the movie came out, but like, it was just, I think they really took their time with it and took like this character to the next level, which we can like kind of just segue into the like specifically like the story and writing
Yeah.
of the film. If you want to share first.
It's a whole existential crisis movie. This cat's gonna
Correct.
die.
Yep.
Like, I think the writing does a very good job of like really conveying like Puss's like anxieties about death, and also like the theming of that too is like I think everyone like understands to a certain extent too. I mean also we're old, so
Adulting.
but yeah, no, I think like the premise is it's like dark enough or like you're like you feel it helps you really feel for the characters too. But yeah, no, like I don't remember the writing. I think the writing's good.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you on that. Like that's why I said like this character really like stood out to me, and I'm a changed woman because of that.
Yeah.
And like the way that it related a lot to like, the fear of dying. Like nobody talks about that.
Yeah.
Like in normal conversation, like, hey, you want to talk about death and how
Yeah.
we all are going to face the inevitable?
It's like scary.
Yeah.
Too, because
Right.
I know going into the movie, because I was talking to like you guys, and like I was saying like I think also just like the fear of death and like the unknown is like a very like human emotion. And so like I think going into the movie too for me and it coming out, scared me a little. I was talking about that before.
Right, yeah.
Just because just because of post grad stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
like I think the movie literally just does such a good job of that, and then also like it does a really good job of like analyzing like the connections in your life and like the relation of like losing everything, like because like
Yeah.
I guess also that when you die it's not even just like, oh, my own personal life
Mm-hmm.
is like done over. It's also like those people that you've made connections or will also be
Right.
affected by it.
Mm-hmm.
Or like even if like you know someone who, it's like a web at the end of the day, because like
Right.
all the characters, like, yeah, because like I noticed that like writing wise, all the characters like motivations for the wish besides Puss until like the very end, and like one of the villains
Mm-hmm.
is like they're all like very like based within like the connections they made with each other or like other ones, but like Puss's is like more like selfish, just like the main villain Jack. Like I noticed that.
Damn. That was deep. I'm
'Cause,
sorry.
like- 'cause,
My
like,
jaw was dropping because I just realized that. Whoa.
Because like even Kitty's was like more so
Mhm.
like you can argue that hers was like also selfish, because like her thing was like, but even then I don't think we ever like find out her specific wish, because she was just saying I want someone I can trust.
Yeah.
But like
Right.
throughout the movie it's how implied that like it was Puss.
Yeah.
Like because even then like hers is like I want someone I can trust, but like of course that stems from like her own personal relationships with people, like with Puss.
Right.
And like even then in the middle of the movie she's like, oh, like I think even if she didn't give like specifics, like it felt like she meant like Puss specifically,
Right.
and like she just wanted camaraderie, which is
Mhm.
still like that, like a connection of person,
Right.
like
exactly.
versus like Puss and Jax. That's why they're also like really good foils. There's a lot of good foils
Love
going
that.
around in this film.
Chef's kiss. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a really good like insight, cuz like I didn't really think of it like that, cuz when you were talking specifically about like, you know, when you think about dying, you still think about like the people that you made and the connection you made.
Mhm.
I was thinking about like the scene where like he is literally facing the character death,
Yeah.
and like which is this big bad wolf,
Mhm.
like going for Puss in Boots and basically like outmatches him like in a fight in the beginning. Like I just thought about like the flashbacks that he gets, like, you know, with, you know, how he gets the boots, and then like his moments with Shrek and Donkey and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And then like Death is like, what's happening? Is life flashing before your eyes? Like he's trying to like intimidate like
Mhm.
Puss in that way. But in terms of like the wishes that people want, like
Mhm.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
And like I think that too, like in relation to that scene, like it feels like he was having this like tug of war of like whether or not to like still like, you know, get these lives, or
Mhm.
like, you know, just remember the moments that he had with other people and like living with this one life that he now has.
Yeah. Because I think too, like in addition to like the final battle, it's everyone against Jack. Too.
Real.
Like there's a lot of like with the movie. I mean, I just realized this as I was talking to, because I just came in here no notes. I'm just like, okay.
I love that.
But it's like I think that also with like how that was done also just really cemented like that theme of like community,
Mhm.
and kind of like again like your life is going to be connected to everyone else's
Yeah.
too. Like I think I also just noticed that because like again personally I think about things a lot.
Mhm.
I'm a very like internal thinker.
Same. I feel you.
So like oftentimes, especially like when I go like to different places too, right? Because like my life is like kind of split between two places, and like
Right.
even then, like when I go home, I will see someone I haven't seen in years. I'm like, oh right, I know this person, and I think about that connection. And like also like
Yeah.
I don't know, my parents just know a lot of people, so I just kind of whatever. But I don't know. I always find that like the concepts of like community and like found family are very interesting
For sure.
to me.
Yeah. I love found family. We love a good found family
speaking
trope.
of Goldilocks and Three Bears, yeah, we're gonna like probably talk about characters and like plot interchange.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's gonna be up next.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. No, you're fine. I just love foreshadowing.
Yeah, like I think the themes of the film, like how it's written, really helps convey the themes like very, very well.
Yeah.
Like even like the concept of like the map to the star,
Mm-hmm.
it's like very individual.
Yeah.
Right, but it's like interesting because they're all in like everyone who's going towards it is in a group.
Mm-hmm.
Right, even though every time you touch the map, it changes to like an individual thing, right?
Yes.
So it's like even though you're in a community, you're still an individual,
right?
And like you have to like work through your own individual things in order to like of course talk to people and like form connections, like because you can't really do like things alone,
right?
Like even if it seems like that, like or like it feels like you're very like individual. It's like everything you learn is from someone else or from something else, right?
Yeah, and that's how you grow.
Yeah.
It made me think, adding on to this, I was like, that actually makes sense. Like people were in their own groups, and then except for the antagonist, Jack Hornell, I think.
Yeah.
I
mean, he had like a group, but like they were very disposable.
Yeah, exactly. Like he didn't care about like the people that like he hired basically to help him like get what he needed. Like he didn't utilize them in a way that is genuine and like good, because he's supposed to be evil, and I think they did a really good job in showing that of like in order to be like a good person, right? Like you rely on the people that you can trust and community, right? As you were talking about,
because even like Jax, like there's a whole joke with him and like basically Jiminy Cricket being
so
his conscious.
I love that part so
and,
much.
Like, the whole thing is like the Cricket's like, hey, I don't think you should kill people. It's like, and Jack's like, anyways, throwing them off the bridge right now, I do not care.
Using them as the bridge.
Yeah, no. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Because like even like in the final battle, he had like one like baker left. That baker died.
That baker took an F.
Yeah, so I thought that was just interesting. Like no matter how many people are surrounded by him, he just refused. Like his motivations were just selfish in general,
right?
Because like even then, like he's describing like why he wanted to do it. He's like, it's because I wasn't popular anymore, right? And I was like, okay, like I don't know. I think it's neat.
I think it's also neat. Like I love when villains just don't have like a redeemable like trait to them.
Yeah,
like it's so real, and it's so like nice to see.
Yeah, I think it's also just because like I mean, again, personally, I think there's been so many like villains have been redeemed throughout the thing, which I think is like nice, but I think also like for me, sometimes I like a person who's just an awful person.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Like there are some villains that can have layers to them, but then it's also just nice to see like villains that are just straight up evil, like dead ass. And like it was so interesting because like at the end of it, with the final battle after death, like right, he's literally on his own. Like he thinks that he can like overcome like what he was just faced, like being thrown like in the bag, but then like he just comes back because like he thinks he's like unstoppable, but then like like you said, and with the scene with everybody coming together and fighting him, like friendship prevails, and solves that problem.
It's like friendship's magic.
My Little Pony.
You also watched My Little Pony this past weekend.
Yeah. Maybe that'll be a future idea for an episode.
Yeah, maybe. You do not have it scheduled.
Friendship is magic.
Yeah.
Basically. Metaphorically and sometimes physically.
Yeah.
Or really.
Yeah.
Let's see. I really like the dark approach that they did with this film, despite being a DreamWorks, like, targeted towards kids, quote unquote, I guess. I don't know, I was just really surprised by the whole thing.
So as a DreamWorks watcher of sequels and threequels and everything, DreamWorks is always very interesting to me as like a storytelling thing, just because like they always have very dark concepts happening in their like things, either for comedic effect or like just theme wise. Because like what was How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah.
Right, like, which I think is like one of like the more like serious, quote unquote serious ones out of DreamWorks. Like the sequel's depressing.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched on the plane next to a child. I was crying.
Man.
But
it's
like,
balling. Yeah.
yeah, no, but I think for this one, it feels darker too because it's like the main character is dealing with their own mortality,
Right.
versus like the mortality of others.
Mm-hmm.
That I've noticed, because like usually when you watch like a near quotations kids film,
Mm-hmm.
it's like mortality isn't really like explored, like for the main character
Relevant, kind
it's
of.
not explored.
Mm.
So like only ones I could think of is like Soul, like because that's like the guy dies, right? I haven't
Right.
seen that movie. I should watch it at some point.
It's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. Then like literally the only ones I can think of are Soul, this movie,
Mm-hmm.
and then Rise of the Guardians, technically.
Yeah.
Because Jack Frost he literally dies in a lake. Like that's how the whole thing happens. Like they don't focus on it like very long though.
Right.
But like they do touch upon like that idea of like mortality and like people like not remembering who you are, and like his like the way he deals with it. But I think that's why it feels so dark, especially from like Shrek. Like Shrek's not like it's lighthearted in terms like it's comedy's dark, right? Because like there's like a whole like joke about like this is so wild. There's a whole like not like corrupt police joke in the second movie.
What is that?
It's the one where they're like, it's like the cops parody. It's like Tonight on Nights, and then like they're like pepper spraying like Shrek, and like they're making Donkey Shrek and Puss go in the car.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Memory unlocked. My God.
Yeah, there's like that one. So like, because I think DreamWorks is more like into like dark jokes
for sure
too. Like of course they have like more serious material, like How to Train Your Dragon 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like a main person dies, but it's not like the main character. Actually I'm gonna spoil it. The dad dies. But like and then I think in like I don't know. No one, well, I guess one person died in Kung Fu Panda, but like Kung Fu Panda is more about like family and like family identity and things too.
Mm-hmm.
So like I went on a tangent. I don't remember what I was gonna say originally, but like dark concepts in DreamWorks. I think it's just really dark because it's the main character facing like something of their own that they can't help, versus like another person dying.
Right, exactly. Which, yeah, like you were talking about, we don't really get to see that like in a lot of like animation, and specifically like technically targeted towards kids.
Yeah,
like, animation.
Because usually when it's like dealing with something like death, it's usually the death of someone else,
right?
Too, because I mean I think also because like kids shouldn't have to worry about like that either. So it makes complete sense to why. But like I think Puss in Boots doing that also just versus Puss is like an adult, so
right?
Like it's not like it won't be like depressing if it was like Puss was like I don't know like 10.
Right, exactly.
Like I would be like, this is too sad.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's more relatable for like when we're as adults, like when we're older and stuff like that, because that's a big thing. Like I didn't really like understand death till maybe like when I was 10 or something. When my I think when my aunt passed away from like cancer, but I still didn't really understand like the concept of that. And then like my grandparents like passed away, like either my grandpa passed away like middle school, and then my grandma in high school. And I just it became like death is such a like heavy topic, obviously, right?
Yeah,
like come on, y'all. Right. But like the way that it was handled in this film was like such a like relatable way that like that we all can like understand. Like for example, like with Puss in Boots, or like basically he says like, oh, I laugh at the face of fear or death, basically. And he kind of just like pushes it away because he has like the ability of like 9 lives and stuff like that, and he doesn't think about it too much. And that, I think, that sense, that ability of like immortality gives you a sense of like not really caring. That's until you really think about like your own like mortality, basically. So yeah, I mean, just that concept is really deep, and really surprising to see.
Yeah. I think also too, like, even like not even just like his physical self, is that like the whole movie's like, do you want to keep, he's like, I want to live so I can keep up my own legend, right? So it's like, it doesn't feel like just like the death of like a physical self. It feels like more like also like the death of like who we know as like Puss in Boots, right? Because that was like his whole thing with like Kitty, like she's like, you are so full of yourself that you only want these lives to keep being like that legend Puss in Boots, and not just like not worry about them, just like do what you want to do, just because like not because he doesn't enjoy like crusading everything, but it's more so like separating yourself from like
being immortal.
Like being immortal, like as a like as a legend.
Yeah,
right,
for sure. Yeah. Whew.
Yeah,
that was a lot.
We're gonna talk about death a lot.
Yeah, exactly. But it was really cool. Not really cool, but like just wow, it was just mind blowing, basically. Like
it just, the movie just does a good job of like talking about this. That's why we're like
that's why we're just kind of like in awe, basically.
Like that's why this, like, if you're able to have like a long conversation about like a theme of a movie, that means something,
right?
And
for
like,
sure,
especially like in like a positive tone too.
Right, we're literally almost pushing to an hour when it comes to this, because like this topic is like so embedded in our lives when we don't really think about it at the same time. But like with this film, like it just captures that really well. I also kind of want to talk about like not just like how dark it is in terms of like mentioning death, but also just the writing in general of like it reminds me, I love that DreamWorks continues to like kind of have that theme with like, for example, with like Shrek, where they're kind of like pushing the boundaries of like animation, like writing and stuff like that. Because it reminds me of like the Grimm brothers, right? And like how fairy tales are supposed to, and their fairy tales are really dark, and Disney was like, let's just erase all the bad dark parts about that.
It's like, I mean, Shrek itself, like Shrek as a movie is literally just like a big middle finger to Disney. Like that's the whole concept of the thing, because the dude who made it had beef with a dude at Disney.
Man.
Like that's why Lord Farquaad is like short, right? Because like the guy at Disney is short. And like it's like, that's why Shrek, it's like a jukebox. Not like jukebox musical exactly, but like that's why it doesn't have like characters singing songs, or like when they do in the franchise, it's like the villain singing it, or like it's like a character that you're supposed to like laugh at. Right.
Like it's not very musical versus like they're just having a musical number because like it's I feel like it's just their character to do,
and it's like a edgy like pop song,
right? Edgy, that's the word.
Like not even like edgy all the time. Like, okay, only example I could think of is like Shrek 2, because Shrek 2 is my favorite Shrek movie,
as it should.
I'm also sorry if I was very quiet during the whole podcast for that whole thing. I was very back. But Shrek 2, like, there's one original song in Shrek 2 that a character like vocally sings. No, there's two. 1.5. It's the fairy godmother song where she's talking to Fiona about like about like all the dressers and stuff.
Right.
And like it's a parody of like a Disney like fairy tale song, right? And she's the evil villain of the whole film. And then the other time the person like verbally sings is her again, but she's singing "Whole Out for a Hero." because her son is manipulating Fiona while Shrek is riding through far away on Donkey, who's now a horse. And
Slay.
also Puss in Boots is there. We'll go back to him. And then Mambo is dying. I love Shrek 2.
Shrek 2, good film.
Yeah, but basically what I'm saying is, like, yeah, no, Shrek especially, because it's also, like, the DreamWorks movie. Like, when you think of DreamWorks, you think about Shrek in some capacity.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Like, you can think of other things, but, like, Shrek is
The number
is
one.
right there.
Yep.
And
That's why. Yeah.
Like, I think since he made that company, like, they're like, that's also why they do, like, more edgier, like, humor. I mean, like, I think they mellowed out, like, in the middle with, like, Trolls and stuff, but, like...
Yeah, they tried it.
It's fine. Trolls is fine. I don't have anything against Trolls. Satan killed his grandma.
That was a clip I saw recently.
Speaking about dying, Puss in Boots, right?
Puss in Boots, right? Agreed. Honestly, I love that, like, Shrek put, like, DreamWorks on the map. And, like, I think the film itself, it just reminds me of, like, you know, how Shrek made fun of just, like, a parody of, like, fairy tales and stuff, which I really love.
Mm-hmm.
And then with this, they also added kind of, like, the grim, kind of, like, dark, like, elements to, like, you know, old fairy tales. Since, you know, fairy tales weren't sugar-coated back then, you know?
Yeah, no. Like, Cinderella's stepsisters cut off their feet.
Yeah, basically. No more dogs.
My dogs.
Out of context, I said.
Oh, those dogs.
Oh, those dogs. Oh my god. But, you know, it was just really, really nice and refreshing to see, like, such a, like, another successful film that isn't Disney, while also kind of, like, also making fun of Disney for their, like, fairy tale movies and not, like, sugarcoating it.
Yeah.
I just think it's fun.
Like, one thing about, like, Shrek and fairy tales is that they will, like, one, they'll tack, like, ones that Disney hasn't really, like, done, because they do, like, also, like, nursery rhymes, which I always found very cool of them, too. Like, the Jack Horner is not, like, he's just a nursery rhyme.
Yeah,
I think he mentioned that or something, because it's very quick.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's a nursery rhyme. I mean, Puss in Boots hasn't been adapted by Disney, from my memory, like, even, like, older wise. So, like, I think, like, Shrek does a good job, especially one of, like, just cultural parody. I mean, like, Puss in Boots 2 isn't necessarily, like, a cultural parody as much as, like, the first two Shrek movies are, because, like, they strayed away a lot from that later on. But, like, I think, like, as a franchise, they're really good at, like, picking, like, what, like, fairy tale characters should be at the forefront, right? And, like, kind of, like, or, like, even nurturing characters, like, which one should be there. And, like, they're really good at, like, twisting them for, like, the purposes of a story.
Right.
Like, in this movie, besides, like, Puss in Boots and, like, a lot of the original characters, the other main ones are Jack Horner, who we talked about it, and then Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Love
and,
them.
like, they're like, okay, yeah, Jack Horner is gonna be, like, this weird, like, child star who's super scorned, runs, like, this weird, like, not mafia business, but he runs, like, a weird, like, pie business where, like, it's definitely, like, something shady's going on.
Right, behind the pies.
Yeah, and he's voiced by John Mulaney, which I'm like...
Ugh. Right, I was shook.
Yeah, no, when I was watching the film, we looked at each other when it showed, because it was my first time watching the film, we went to go together, and I was like, him?
And I was like, yeah.
But, yeah, like, they're like, oh yeah, make him like a weird like child star, and then Goldilocks and Three Bears are like, oh, make it like a found family like bounty hunter thing, and it works so well because like it makes sense in your head, right? Like even like again going back to the original Shrek movies, like even like Pinocchio being there
was so funny.
It's like you're like okay, yeah, because like that Pinocchio is obviously supposed to be like a little loosely based off of like the Disney one, but like not completely enough. Too, because also the first Shrek movie was very like anti Disney. By the third movie, they have like Cinderella and Snow White show up, which is like insane,
iconic.
And then like even like one of the fan favorite characters is like the ugly stepsister.
Oh
in
yeah,
Shrek, which is like
love her.
Crazy. right?
Yeah.
Basically what I'm saying is I think that this franchise, like, as a whole, does a very good job of selecting which, like, fairy tales and stuff should be there. Like, Shrek 2, they have, like, Princess and the Frog, and it's Fiona's parents. Like, it's, and, like, it helps, like, parallel, like, with the whole, like, issue with, like, the dad and Shrek. They do a very good job of choosing them and how they relate to each other, and, like, being foils to one another in, like, either the approach of writing or just, like, literally in terms of, like, their fairy tale thing. And they're very good at, like, just pinpointing everything. Like, that's, like, always my favorite thing about Shrek stuff.
Yeah.
It's just seeing how they, like, weave these, like, weird, like, fairy tale characters together.
Yeah. I like that it kind of has its own kind of, like, the Shrek like universe, I guess. Like, it's like fairy tales, but it's like the MCU but for fairy tales, which I love. I love making, like, putting characters together. I love that, like, Jack Horner's, like, motivation too is kind of like, oh, he's just a nursery rhyme. He's not like the big classic fairy tales that you're used to. And that's why he's evil.
Yeah. And I think just even, like, including that too is also just fun because I'm like, we've met, like, nursery rhymes in the Shrek universe who are well-adjusted people.
Yeah.
So you're just like, yeah, no, this man's, like, kind of off the rocker.
Yeah, he's a little messy in the head.
Like, I think they just do a really good job of that. And I always admired them.
I think too, like, I feel like they humanize, like, specific fairy tale characters, specifically, like, what you were talking about with Goldilocks and the Three Bears, right? Like, I was like, oh yeah, Goldilocks and Three Bears, they're just there, you know, they're just a family. Oh, that's pretty cool. Like, I remember reading about, like, this fairy tale, like, she goes into the bear's home and, like, something is too soft, too hard, or just right, and I didn't really think much of it. And then they go to, like, the core of it, which is, like, why Goldilocks, like, wants the last wish. Yeah. And it's because she wants, like, an actual real family, or, like, have parents, like, human parents, instead of the bears. And that hit me so hard. I was, like, in tears the first time watching it, because I was like, ain't no way.
I thought it was interesting they made her an orphan.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think the original one, she literally just wandering from home. Like,
that's what I was
she has, like, parents. Because also in the movie, too, they have, like, a book where it's, like, well, I think they say, like, she's an orphan in the thing. And then, like, there's a picture book of, like, her, like, she drew, like, gold hair on, like, a picture of, like, a girl and her family. Yeah. And stuff. And, like, even then, like, the Goldilocks, like fairy tale, it doesn't tell you what happens after. It's just Goldilocks just, like, broke and entered. It's like, damn, this
basically.
Like, damn, this bed feels good. The bears are just staring at her, like,
okay, the end.
Huh? But yeah, no, I thought, like, the dynamic was really well written for them. Yeah. Like, again, I'm a sucker for found family.
Me too.
I mean, this movie is just full of it.
Love
in general. So
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we want to specifically talk about characters now? Because we keep mentioning characters.
Yes, I also agree.
But we're also not mentioning other characters.
Specifically, our main ones being Kitty Softpaws and our little cute little dog, Perrito.
Yeah. What do you think of them?
Oh my gosh. I love them. Like, Kitty appears in the first one, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I didn't really know her that much, but I got a good grip on her like in this movie, because, like, you know, she's just a badass, like, cat, and, like, she also goes on her own adventures, but she also, like, you know, like, with her wish of, like, wanting to, like, have somebody to trust, like, she's a lot more, like, smarter and aware of her, like, own emotions too, versus, like, Puss being a little more, like, selfish and stuff. Yeah. So I love her. She's a girl boss, basically, but has, like, a good, like, heart of gold, I think. And, like, she kind of just, like, balances off of, like, Puss. And then I think for my boy Perrito, I will always love him. I think he's a good, like, balance between the two. Yeah. Like, Kitty is very, like, you know, stubborn, but also, like, Puss is also kind of, like, stubborn, but only in his own, like, selfish way. But Perrito is, like, the the like happy-go-lucky type.
Mhm.
And it's not annoying too. Like it's so wholesome.
He's very cute.
Yeah, he's adorable. Like he tries to like so what happens when Puss in Boots like kind of gives up and has this fear of death? Like he goes to this like basically nursery home for like cats, right?
Yeah.
I love the cat lady, by the way.
Mm.
She slays. But he Puss in Boots meets Perito, who like disguises himself badly as a cat, but he's a dog.
Yeah.
And I think it's the cutest thing ever. He's just trying to look for friends, basically. He's trying to look for a bestie, which I love. And he's just there for the journey. Like he doesn't want a wish or anything. Like, and I think that comes to show of like he, even though he's supposed to kind of be like the comic relief, like he's also there to be like the meaning of like what life is. It's just like,
Yeah.
you know, having the connections around you is that what really matters versus like hiding in fear of death.
Yeah, because
You know?
this dog was abused. Like
Mhm.
the whole like thing with him, because like they're like all discussing like, oh, like what do you want to wish, blah blah blah, and he's like describing his backstory. It's basically about how this family just never wanted him,
Crying.
and like basically they kept trying to kill him, but like through his eyes, he just thought that they're playing like hide and seek and like a bunch of other games. He's like, yeah, like one time they were just like put me in a sock and like put some rocks and then threw me in the sea, and then like and he's like, and I'm wearing this sock right now. I'm like, which I'm like, that's like the equivalent of like a human wearing a noose just as a necklace. Like I was like, it helps you feel for him because he's so naive,
Right.
but also like, please, what the fuck?
No, really. No, really though. And then like, the jokes where he like cusses.
Yeah,
And it's like censored with the beeps.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love those. Were also my favorite parts.
Yeah, there is one thing about like the Shrek, like whenever Puss in Boots shows up in the Shrek universe, someone's gonna curse in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Either it's gonna be censored or they're gonna say it in Spanish.
Or like say something like small, like hell or damn.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, like that's a typical. I think that's a typical like, because I know in one of the Shrek movies they do say ass.
Yeah.
For the donkey.
Right. Like small minor like cuss words that are like, oh, okay, yeah, not
if you
too
have
bad.
kids and you don't want them to say that, then maybe I don't know, take them and go see the movie.
Right.
Just take them.
Regardless, they know.
Yeah.
Kids know, and I think too, like it just shows it. It just helps proves that like animation is not for kids.
Yeah.
I mean, not just for kids, but also like kids are smarter than you know.
Yeah. Like. And okay, for reference, we're both college students and we don't have kids, so like, I don't know if we're the best people to take like
advice,
parenting advice from. But to be fair, we watch a lot of Bluey, so that redeems us. We know,
yeah,
we know some things, but yeah, no, like I think, so personally for me, I've seen the first movie, so I already going. I knew who Kitty Softpaws was. And you got her character like pretty like down packed. Mm-hmm. I do like comparing the two movies in terms of like team dynamic. I like this movie's a lot more with Perito than and the first movie was Humpty Dumpty.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
So, like,
okay,
the whole thing is like Humpty Dumpty and like Puss in Boots. They grew up in the same orphanage together.
Yeah,
so they're like we're like brothers, right? They did like a little blood and yolk pack. Like they put like they like pricked their fingers and they did like this or something.
That's
like,
silly.
And like basically they stole everything together.
Oh wow.
So the whole thing with that movie, they're trying to get like quick Puss in Boots first one. Lore. They're trying to get like the golden goose thing so then they can become rich. But like turns out like Humpty Dumpty like betrayed them. Like, because the whole thing is, like, Humpty's, like, the villain. Like, one of the villains. Because it's, like, him and then Jack and Jill.
Oh, my gosh.
Are the villains.
I love that.
But, like, the first movie, like, with that dynamic, like, I mean, you don't find out that, like, Humpty is, like, a bad guy until, like, later on in the movie. But, like, even then, like, his dynamic with Puss was, like, oh, it's okay. Mm-hmm. Right, and then like his dynamic with like Kitty Softpaws was like pretty good because like the whole thing's like they're both thieves and like they're very similar, like etc. And this movie, I think it was good that they had someone who was like completely naive between the two of them because like in the first one, I felt like everyone just kind of like not hate each other, but they're all very like distrustful.
Yeah.
Like because like even like Humpty would be was distrustful of Kitty Softpaws because she was gonna ruin his plan.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's like you have like that dynamic versus this one where it's like Kitty and Puss have like beef with each other, a little beef with each other, but like Perrito's like is just so naive that like he can't like he trusts everyone, right? And I think that's like better, and also I think it just works better with like the theme of this film because like the first film like it had a theme, but like it's not like doesn't feel as concrete. Right.
Yeah. No, I get you. Because, like, I think it helped, like I said before, like, balance, like, the two. Because, you know, both of them have their differences, but they do have, like, they have a complexity to them.
Yeah.
And, like, not to say that Perrito doesn't have a complex, but,
he's very complex.
Yeah, he's very complex,
he's
dude. And I think that's what makes him a lot more complex. Yeah. Because of how simple his like mindset is, like, or naive he is.
Yeah, because it's not like he's dumb. Because at the end of the film, he's like helping out them.
Yeah,
and he's the reason why they like got Jack, like very well. But like it's like he's just so trusting no matter what, and I think that was good for this film to have a character like that.
He just had a differing like personality.
Yeah, like there's a lot of cynicism going on between characters, so I think it was good to have a character who's just like, oh no, like I don't think anything's like. He's like, yeah, this is bad, but like it's not like I hate y'all or anything. Yeah,
exactly. And then like the reason why Kitty and Puss in Boots have like beef with each other was because of the fact that like they were about to be married or something like that.
So that whole thing is like just for this movie.
Oh, really? It didn't happen in the previous
film? No, the previous film. Okay, it's very interesting because also like. I have to talk about the Puss in Boots TV show.
Oh man, I forgot that was a thing.
So basically, in the first movie, they're love interest, but they don't get together. Like it's just, I think it ends with like one of them like leaving, like they like steal something from each other, and that's how the movie ends.
Okay.
Right, because they're still like, so we don't know anything that happens like after that, really. But like you know that they're love interests because they flirt with each other a lot, and like they have like that very like push and pull dynamic. That's like, which by the way, I like their like romantic subtext a lot because like even the first movie, it wasn't like in your face about it necessarily. Like it was like good enough where I'm like, this is very interesting. I do like them like as a couple.
Yeah,
and like. And like even if it was like it's like a very good dynamic. Like it works both platonically and like romantically.
Yes.
But in the first movie, no, it just ends like when they like finish like they like capture like Humpty and everything, and they arrest them.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it just ends with them dancing.
Love that.
Like at the cat bar.
Oh, love a good dance scene at the end.
So the whole marriage thing was like definitely like just for this movie. Yeah, because I think the TV show that happened for Puss in Boots, Kitty's not in that, and that's like supposed to be post like I think that's post like the first movie.
I see. Yeah. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I was wondering if it was like canon or not.
Yeah,
it might be.
Maybe I never watched the show, but I know it's supposed to be post like the first movie.
Gotcha.
But the marriage thing was just for this movie.
Okay.
Like literally the only things that were like referenced and from the previous movie is that one cat. And then, like, in Puss's, like, one of his life flashbacks, they show, like, the lady that was at the orphanage who helped him.
Get the boots?
Yeah. Like, those are, like, the only, like, things that, that, like, are from the first movie. So you don't need the first movie, really.
Yeah. Totally agree. Yeah, so, like, so that specific scene of, like, why they didn't really like each other was because they were bound to be married in the altar, but Puss didn't show up.
Yeah.
So that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Not showing up to your own wedding. But also
it's like also kind of funny because like Kitty's like, yeah, I didn't show up either because I knew you wouldn't show up because you're too conceited. And like it's funny because like again they're very similar characters like in theory, right? Because they're both like these like cats who like vigilante cats,
yes,
right? But it's just like the slight amount of principle and like morals that Kitty has over Puss is so funny. Like it's not even like that much, just like a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, like, he's just like, yeah, I just didn't show up either because I knew you wouldn't show up because you're too full of yourself.
Dang.
Like, and I was like, it hits, like,
real.
like, hard enough.
Yeah.
Because it's still, again, it's funny that both of them just didn't show up.
Right.
But, like, the fact that she was like, it's because of you, and I know how you are, right? Because, again, like, perception of self is, like, big part of this movie.
Yes, yeah.
It just hits, like, really well.
Right, exactly. Like, it's a big... That's their big, like, source of, like, conflict between the two, basically. I really like how, they... This is a weird wording. I liked the scene where Puss is kind of running away from death instead of fighting him, and then he gets this whole, like, big panic attack. I
see
know
why that's weird, but, like,
that's a weird wording.
Yeah, no.
Because I don't know. It's so... Because you see him, you know, it's Puss in Boots. Like, he's this strong character. He doesn't fear anything. He says, "Fear me if you dare." Like, he isn't afraid of anything. And then this being his, like, other, like, external conflict that is usually an internal conflict, but manifested into something, like, humanized. But in this case, obviously, they're animals. But they, like, basically... But he's now, like, now that he has one fear, he is basically kind of just, instead of fighting it like he usually does, he runs away from it. Yeah. And it's like, it's not cowardly or anything, because, like, I would be scared of death. Like, what?
Yeah, no. I think that scene was really good.
Yeah.
I also just find it interesting, like, okay, not even just that scene, but, like, literally the first scene when we see that, like, at the bar, like, and, like, that's the first time we see, like, Puss, like, afraid, like, ever, really. Yeah. I mean, like, I think he might have been afraid, like, in, like, the Shrek movies as, like, a joke, but, like, as, like, a genuine moment where, like, there's no jokes, no laughter, no anything, he is afraid. It's very good. One, because of, like, of course, like, the cat, like, acknowledging it, like, his fur stands up, and, like, you, and also, like, you understand the signs, too, because, like, because one, like, the way cats experience fear is, like, visually, is very similar to how humans, right? So, like, a human's, like, hair would stand up on their skin also. So, like, we know, like, he is afraid, like, besides just, like, the facial expression he does. And also, like, in that scene, he leaves his sword, which is, like, one of the reasons why he wouldn't be afraid, because it's, like, you know, like, like a weapon.
Right, that's, like, his signature, like, item.
Yeah, like, hilariously, it's, like, his shield. Right.
That's ironic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, with that scene, like, that's the one I was like, okay, like...
Like, who is he without it?
Yeah. Like, I think it's very interesting, especially Death. Like, Death's not a villain. Death is literally just doing his job.
No, really.
Like, that's the whole thing is literally the feeling, I am literally just trying to do my job, and you keep laughing at me. Please stop.
Right, just fight me, please.
Just fight me, I'll kill you, we could get this done and over with.
Exactly.
Like, like, it doesn't say like that. Like, the way he says things is very, like, scary.
Yes, yeah.
But, like, at the end of the day, I'm like, he's just trying to do his job. I don't even blame him.
Like, that's just kind of, like, his thing, you
know?
like,
because... if I was the Grim Reaper, and, like, there's this guy who had 9 lives, and, like, he kept wasting, I would also be very pissed off.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
I would also agree with that if I were the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, no, because it's not even like, oh, you have 9 lives, but, like, you're at least, like, trying to take care of them. Like, the whole thing, like, the reason why also the big deal with Puss is, like, 9 lives, like, the whole thing of it, it's, like, literally one of his lives he died by being too drunk. Yeah. Right? And, like, there's, like, he's just being too careless.
He falls off a cliff.
Like, he falls off a cliff. He's like, oh, I can do, like, I can lift up this dumbbell, and he just immediately dies. Like, that's the whole reason why Death is also pissed off. He's like, you are just wasting your lives. Like, that's why I'm annoyed by you. Right. Because you have so many opportunities to live, like, these enriching and fulfilling lives, but you don't take care of them. You don't value them.
Right. Because it's more than just cheating at life. It's, like, not taking advantage of the fact that you're able to cheat life.
Yeah.
because like too, oh my god, I love that sequence so much where he loses
Yeah.
like his 8 lives, but like the allergic reaction, I was so, as somebody who has allergies, specifically shellfish
Yeah, I was gonna say,
allergies.
don't you have the same one?
Yeah, exactly. We have the same one. He's just like me for real, but I wouldn't go that far. Okay.
Yeah, like, I don't think he
Right.
was even upset about that one. I think it's just, like, every other one. He's like,
Yeah.
also because I think Puss kept eating the shellfish after,
Yep.
too.
I was so mad. I was
'Cause-
like, dude, get your EpiPen right now.
Because, like, it makes sense if, like, he just didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, he said, actually, have more. I'm like,
Dude was legit like swelling around his face, redness, and I was just like, this is like a nightmare for me. No.
basically what we're saying is that death was so justified.
Yeah,
In
exactly.
every action.
He was not the antagonist.
Yeah, no. He's just, like, a foil, right?
Oh, for
Like,
sure.
Both visually, because he's literally, like, a giant wolf,
Mm-hmm.
and Puss is, like, a tiny cat.
Yeah.
Like, even, like, the fact that he's a wolf specifically, like, he's, like, I don't like saying the word predator anymore.
Yeah, that's not.
Because
yeah,
when
I
you
get
watch
you.
Utopia, it's like, I'm like, I don't like this anymore. Like, he's, like
Like
the-
intimidating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, you know, because, like, a wolf is just a big version of a dog,
Right.
right? And, like, we already
Mhm.
have a dog character, so they're like, well, let's make a wolf character, because then it'll contrast one, because dog and then cat, but then also, like, the stature would be different, too.
Mhm.
Because Puss is, like, this tiny little cat who's like, like, fuck you.
Yeah. I got this in the bag.
Yeah,
Don't
we're
worry
both,
about
like,
me.
waving swords.
Right. Just waving.
This is so
Yeah.
fun, because
Right.
then we just do, like,
Yeah, we're just rolling our wrists, guys. We're just
Yeah.
warming up.
but, like, I think, I think, like, the approach of death just being, like, not like a guy, because, again, death is scary.
Mhm.
Like, both, like, figuratively and literally in this film. Like, he has a very, like, simple yet very efficient design.
Oh yes.
Like, with especially like, the red eyes that glow, the fact that, like, he just appears out of nowhere, which, like, death can happen at any time. It sounds so dark, but, like,
Right. Yeah.
like, he can appear at any time. Like, he can taunt, like, it can taunt you at any time.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, especially during the scenes where, like, Puss is, like, kind of, like, thrill chasing, too. Like, I thought, I liked the execution of death in this film.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not just your average animated wolf character, guys.
Yeah, and also, like, he's, like, a very interesting portrayal of, like, a Grim Reaper,
Yeah.
too. Like, it's probably it's, like, up there.
Mhm.
Like, if someone told me, like, Shayla, rank, like, your favorite, like, Grim Reapers in media, my top 3.
Yeah. No, that's
Okay.
hands down.
I'll give you
Agreed.
my top 3
Oh my gosh,
right
love.
now.
Send the
Um,
list.
It's not in order, though, because I can't really think of an order, because I like
Fair.
them for very different reasons.
Yeah.
But this stuff from Puss in Boots, Grim from The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy,
Yes. Love 'em.
represent, and then the Grim Reaper from The Sims. Don't ask me which
Awesome.
one. I only play The Sims 4, so, like, I'm...
So from Sims 4.
Yeah, but, like, the thing
Okay.
is that, like, longtime Sims players are gonna be angry at me, because Sims 4 is the worst game.
Let them be angry.
Yeah,
It's
I
fine.
have a Mac computer. It doesn't like games.
It doesn't like
I already
games.
have 2 animation programs on here. It does
Oh,
not like
man.
anything.
Oh, Mac users. We're suffering.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I thought that just fear, and then also, like, again, like, the panic attack scene was, like,
Mm-hmm.
like, a lot of people have been praising it, and, like,
Yeah.
I like the panic attack scene, too.
I love the word.
Yeah.
I love the panic attack scene. Yeah.
Yeah, which, this is, like, this is the third piece of media I've seen with a panic attack scene.
Yeah, I think it might be the second for me. I might be blanking out. But
Yeah, there's probably definitely others, but, like,
yeah. This one definitely stands out.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, as someone who also has, like, I had, like, my first panic attack, like,
Mhm.
a while ago. Also, trigger warning for, like, panic attacks
Oh,
and stuff
yeah.
like that.
Sorry.
Mental health. No, it was fine. But, like, I lost, like, my cousin, and stuff like that, and that took, like, a toll, like, on my mental health and stuff like that, and it happened in the movie theater, and that's when I started to have, like, this fear of, like, death and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And so, like, that's why I related a lot to this film, and specifically that scene. I don't know, I felt seen in that way, and, like, you know, just seeing the motions of, like, okay, how to, like, you know, ground yourself, right? And
Yeah.
seeing, like, Burrito, like, lay his head on like his stomach to like kind of just calm him down. And also like dogs are like the most cutest, like happy-go-lucky things ever, and they just, I don't know, like as a dog person, I'm biased, but like they're really I just see comfort in like also like with touch. Like it's just like my main like way of like showing like how much I like, it's kind of just like my love language and stuff like that. And also dogs are just really nice to like, they're nice and fluffy and adorable.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm also a person who suffers from like panic attacks.
Love
too.
mental illness.
So
yeah.
I just realized what you said.
What, mental illness?
Yeah,
and holding up my my hands. I'm making like the like my pinky and my thumbs are out.
It's like this is like the ASL for like why. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, like
so
she's doing that.
I'm like
waving
waving mental illness. No.
Yeah, no. As someone who also suffers from panic attacks, and like for some reason, not every piece of media I've been watching, but like a lot of them I've been watching have like scenes with people who have panic attacks.
Yeah.
Like,
are we all mentally ill, y'all?
Is everyone okay?
Right. Do we need to seek therapy together?
Yay!
Group therapy. Yes.
But no. I also thought that scene was like also important. Also, I just thought it was like a good like callback too, because like Peruto was saying like he should be a therapy dog.
I love that for him.
Yeah, I thought a lot about that because when he said that, and then like that scene happened, I was like, he is a therapy dog, like technically,
right?
Because like everyone kind of
remember.
Yeah, like I don't know. I thought the scene was really good. Like, I think during that scene too, I might have like zoned out thinking about my own like personal experiences, because watching this movie, like, it's a fun movie, but also for me personally, I think too much. So like when I am confronted with like movies and stuff about like death and like anxieties and stuff, like I also like feel very anxious. Like,
I agree.
I'm just a generally anxious person in general, but like like watching this movie, it's like it's definitely a movie I have to be in the mood for to watch.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because like the film itself is like so fun and good, but like I think things where films are really good because of how complex it is.
Yeah,
like there are a lot to take in and are a bit overwhelming. Like for example, like Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is a live action film, which is really good and you should see it.
Yeah, that's overwhelming because it's Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Exactly. Exactly. Basically, that makes sense, Shay. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, you really have to find that space, you have to be in the right headspace to watch stuff like this.
Like, I think this movie, like, it's still like very lighthearted enough to where it doesn't feel like so heavy. Cause I feel like the way we're explaining
for sure
sounds very heavy, but I think just because we're both having like existential crises right now
about death. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
But like I think again it like speaks to the portrayal of these two, because like even while we're talking about like these topics, we just have like we're saying everything. Like, we like how well it was handled, and we like how it was executed within like the script, and then like within like the final product. Like,
right.
Yeah,
like it when we're talking about stuff like this, like it helps us like feel seen in that way, and so we're able to kind of have these conversations on why this is like important to talk about. So kudos to DreamWorks for that. Moving on, I think I want to segue to this to just like talking about like the art, the visuals, the animation.
Waiting for this one.
Yeah,
I have so much.
Let's go,
say.
Shay. Spill.
Okay, so like when we were talking about kind of like dark themes with like DreamWorks stuff, the first thing I thought about, I was like, compared to the first film, right? Because okay, also like the way it looks is completely opposite, right? Because the first one's very like dark and gritty, which like was like a Shrek staple.
Oh, for
like,
sure.
Also, because it's supposed to contrast like Disney, so like Disney's like very like bright and cheerful and happy, but Shrek is dark and gritty and edgy, and like it looks like a mud like seeped over the camera. You didn't clean it right.
You didn't clean it right.
Yeah, and so like that first Puss in Boots movie also kind of follow like this gritty like fairy tale, especially like because in that movie they're in the desert at certain points. Like I felt like when Jack and Jill came on screen, I was like, they feel dirty. like
Yeah.
like they feel like they have a lot of grit, like visually to them.
Right, yeah.
And then this, and like that movie, even though it's not like the most like it's a lighthearted movie, like for the most part, it's not like anything like crazy serious happening. But with this movie, it's so like lush and vibrant. But also, I'm like, this movie is like so dark.
Yeah,
and I thought it was very interesting how they kind of like switched for a sequel.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's so ironic thinking about that too, because like the way from what I've been hearing and what I saw was like, yeah, I agree that this is a lot more visually like a storybook. Like they were trying to like mimic like the arts of like a fairy tale like book ish kind of like illustrative like look to it. So yeah.
Yeah, I think okay, I'm gonna talk about animation trends now.
Love.
So Spider-Verse did that.
The blueprint. We all know Spider-Verse was the blueprint.
This is like the ever since like especially specifically Spider-Verse, we've been getting a lot more like 3D anime films that like are taking more 2D elements, and I am so happy. Like I personally just really like, I'm a 2D animation major for context. Ooh. I like 3D, like visually. I can't do 3D. I just can't do it. But also like my personal like the things that appeal to me in 3D are like more cartoony and more like not so much like like I like low poly stuff a lot too. So like I like when things are more simple in 3D versus like super complex.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Like I think complex stuff is like very beautiful, but like just personally for me it's not like my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Right? And so like of course when Spider-Verse dropped, like Spider-Verse was like very like we're gonna balance like 2D and 3D elements plus like a comic book element and like also experiment with like different styles even for like the people themselves. And like it's carrying on to the second film where like even now they're doing there's like a scene where like there's like animation production frames for one action scene, which I'm very excited about. But anyways, what I'm saying is like post Spider-Verse, I'm glad like places are taking this direction. But I think DreamWorks is the most notable one, which is very interesting to me because like back to the bad guys for like 2 seconds, like that's a very like squishy movie. Right, like the way it looks is very squishy. They have like these little like the anime, I call them anime lines,
like action lines.
Yeah, like the action lines, and like it reminds me a lot of like this French cartoon that was on Kabili called Bunny Maloney.
I don't think I've heard of it.
It's like technically like half lost media.
Oh wow!
Like technically, because a lot of people know it from Kabili, so we all see like a lot of people have seen it.
Yeah.
But like the episodes just aren't like easily available anywhere.
Oh wow.
But that's what like the bad guys reminds me of visually.
Got it.
And then Puss in Boots specifically is like a Spider-Verse-y one because like all the sweeping textures and everything. Oh yeah, also Mitchell's Machines is another one that like kind of does like that balance too.
That's Sony, right?
Yeah, I think that's Sony, and like I think Mitchell's especially does it with their backgrounds where it feels more painterly, which is very interesting. Yeah. But Puss in Boots, like it's one vibrant, gorgeous. Like I think they do a very good job at like doing like I'm sorry I'm gonna keep calling it the Spider-Verse effect. I'm so sorry.
That's
but,
a
like
good
it's
one.
very like painterly looking, like for like the models, and then like they even like they do like the choppy frame rate thing too.
Yeah.
And it works very well because they do it in action, and the action scenes are very well choreographed.
Yeah. I was wondering if you had any input on that because like obviously they pick and choose their moments where they like what is it, the frame rate, right? The frame rate change, like it what do you think about that and like how they pick and choose? Because is it because like, you know, if things are moving fast they'll might want to slow it down a bit, so that's why they do that?
Oh, so like with frame rate, again, I'm speaking from a 2D animation major. I don't know if it's the same for 3D exactly with things, but usually if you want things to go faster you would like, so it's hard to explain, like the frame rate, like they make it choppier, right?
Yeah.
Which like helps with like quick movements sometimes, but I think it's also just because of visual appeal
for
with
sure
the style, to be honest, because I think I'm trying to think how to. I don't know how to phrase it properly
No, you're fine.
because it's just. I'm like, I don't know if there's any like specific technicalities with 3D where like
right.
that would like apply to, but
Yeah.
I think it was smart of them to use it just for action scenes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
Also
think
agree.
I think that was the smartest thing because like the rest of the movie is very smooth looking. I wouldn't have minded if like the action scenes were like the very smooth like animation style that they were doing like throughout the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
I think they would have looked really good like that. And there's some action scenes with that like smoother thing. I think the frame rate thing was just for like appeal.
Okay.
Because like it already looks kind of like Spider-Verse, and then
right.
like
Yeah.
because like there's a Netflix movie that Intergalactic with Kid Cudi. That one I watched that over break, and like that movie also does like this like literally like Spider-Verse thing with like painterly textures, like this one feels more explicit because like graffiti inspired, etc., etc.
For sure.
But the thing is with how the movie is made and like what the context of the movie is, because it's like a very like slice of life movie, like nothing crazy is really happening. When they do a frame rate switch up, it doesn't work because they're just choosing random scenes to like slow down the frame rate, and it looks awkward, right? Versus like more intentional with like Spider-Verse and Puss in Boots, because in Spider-Verse it's like, oh, it's because we're gonna use frame rate to kind of like do like Miles's transition into being a Spider-Man. And then Puss in Boots are like, oh, we just like the frame rate thing for the action scenes, so we'll use it for the action scenes and make sure we perfect that. Versus like Intergalactic, where it felt like they're just picking and choosing where to put them because there's not any like action scenes in it or like any like dynamic scenes, right?
For sure, yeah.
So that's why, yeah, I think it was just appeal,
right,
for Puss in Boots, but like I think it works, really well.
Yeah. I was just wondering if there was like meaning behind where they pick and choose in their specific like action scenes and stuff like that, whether to like help with pace or something like that, or like with everything going on. Like when I think about it with the frame rate and stuff, I think about that one scene where all the bakers are like running towards like the bears and stuff like that, and they're trying to fight for the map again. Yeah, so I don't know. That just made me wonder. That's it.
I think it just works really well too because it helps you also like just even with like the more staggered frame rate, it helps you with like understanding where characters are.
Yeah.
So it's not as confusing because the way the Puss in Boots fights are choreographed are insane because the camera angles they'll take sometimes.
Right.
So I think also like that was a good idea to like say, hey, let's slow down how fast it's going. So then like when there's not a lot of like things going on, and it gets confusing, like even amidst like chaos. Because like again, I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep saying Spider-Verse stuff.
It is the blueprint.
Yeah, because like in Spider-Verse, like even though like the fight scenes can get chaotic, the way they're choreographed is still very clear in terms of like silhouette.
Yeah.
Like that's why with Puss in Boots, it's like they like take like snake around a lot with the camera. So I think it was smart of them to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Because like I said, you said, they take they take advantage of like camera angles and stuff like that, and it's really like all over the place, right?
Yeah.
And it definitely helps to pinpoint where characters are and stuff. I don't know. The character designs are really fun. Like, I love that it's not realistic. Like, the cat, they're not fully realistic, but they're still, like, paintery. Like, to still, like I said, like, capture the, like, storybook, like, aspect of it. And then I just think about the part where they're, like, trying to have, like, a cute, like, competition with their eyes. I think it's so cute.
I love the little detail that the eyes are just, like, paint strokes.
Oh, really?
Like, the shines in the eyes are really just a paint stroke.
Wait, that's so fun.
And I was watching, like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Like, especially more just when, like, close-ups where, like, and you can see, like, kind of the texture.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Character design-wise, I think that they did a really good job because they went a more cartoony approach. Like, I agree. Also, because, like... so Kitty Softpaws in the first movie suffered from girl version of main character syndrome.
No.
Like a little bit where like like when they like like the thing where like you have like a character, right?
Yeah.
Like a guy character and like it's like that, and then the girl version it's like either like super hyper feminine. Like Kitty Softpaws kind of suffered from that in the first movie.
Yikes.
Like where I think she had like bigger eyes than Puss, and like I think she's a little bit curvier. Like, it wasn't, like, crazy. Like, it wasn't like she was, like... It wasn't like SWAT Cats. There's a show called SWAT Cats, and like basically all the guy characters just like cats like standing on their hind legs, and then all the girl characters just like humans with like cat ears.
Bruh, that's what I like to call misogyny. Oh
Yeah,
my
like
god.
there's a lot of it's like a pet peeve of mine
I'm
personally.
sick.
But like basically with the Puss, like the new one, they kind of like alleviated that, where like they just both look like cats. Again,
Finally.
I don't think Kitty Softpaws in the first movie was like that bad
Mhm.
compared to like other examples I've seen. But like the fact that they changed it for the new movie, I was like, oh, that's neat.
Yeah, thank God. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I would have cried.
I really like the vibe of the Three Bears and Goldilocks design wise.
Me too. Like, I love that they have their own distinct, like, personalities. Like, you would expect, like, Papa Bear to be, like, you know, tough and rough and kind of, like, gritty and stuff like that. But, like, his personality, like, it shows that,
Mhm.
like, in his character design. But then, like, personality-wise, he's the too soft bear.
Yeah.
I also really love Goldilocks's, like, design.
I really liked her design.
Yeah.
I also like Florence Pugh's voice for it. I mean, I don't like. I know she sounds like that. I just like her voice in general. But like,
yeah.
I thought she did a really good job
Mhm.
with Goldilocks. I mean, I'm not a voice actor. So
Yeah. No, you're fine. No, I
Okay.
totally agree with you. Like, I don't know. Like, I didn't even know it was Florence Pugh until my
You-
partner told me.
you told me.
I know.
You
'cause I
said, "Do you
had to-
know his voice?" I'm like, no.
It's it's because Henry was like, tell Shay, and ask them who this is, who the
Uh-huh.
voice actor is for Goldilocks, if they know. And then I was like, okay,
Thing is,
fine.
I haven't really watched Florence Pugh in anything.
Yeah.
Like I've seen clips of her acting. I think she's like really good from like all the stuff I've seen her, like the clips and stuff. And like I
Yeah.
think I saw one movie that she was in. I don't know which one,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I wouldn't know her voice. But
Yeah, I wouldn't know either. Like, I know. Do you know if she's like has an accent?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, she doesn't have.
yeah,
an
no,
accent.
she just has. That's just her normal voice.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's her normal voice. Cause like I've only seen her in like MCU stuff, so like Black Widow and then like Hawkeye.
Oh.
So like I've only known her for like her Russian accent.
Okay.
And like, yeah, this was really cool to like see. Never have I ever had the empathy for a British woman and three bears and British bears.
like it's like again, their dynamics like really good.
Yeah.
Like back to like found family dynamics. Like again, Goldilocks was like, I want a noble family, right? And then the fact that the mother bear was still like so supportive
Yeah.
I was like, I almost cried in the theater. I think I might cry
me.
now.
Honestly though, I was like, that scene also broke me.
There's like, I would want a spin off of them.
I would too.
Like a short or something even,
Mhm.
like, because I think they make like, again, like I think Shrek as a franchise, because at the end of the day this is part of a Shrek franchise. They do such a good job of making side characters that you want to see them more,
yeah.
right? Like that's why the Ugly Stepsisters in the rest of the movies, like after 2, that's why
Love.
like that's why you see like a lot of recurring characters. Because again, like I'm not saying that Shrek 2 is the best Shrek movie, but also it's like the
Valid.
blueprint movie for them.
Mhm.
I think because like that's when Puss in Boots comes in. That's when like everyone that you like know from Shrek like comes in.
Right.
Like the fact that Puss in Boots like is also like accomplishing that, where like I'm like I want to know more about Goldilocks and the Three Bears and like their whole thing,
Mhm.
and like I kind of want like something else with them, like means a lot, I think. But yeah, I like their designs.
Yes, also agree.
Because I think like also too it fits with like their whole bounty hunter like crime family
yeah, oh
type
my gosh,
vibe,
yes.
but like also like this weird like wannabe crime family, because like
Mhm.
that has like one of his eyes is slashed,
Yeah.
but like he's like chill, right?
Mhm.
The mom is like dressed like a normal mom, but she has like 2 like earrings
So cute.
with her beret like on one ear, and it's really cute. And then Goldilocks and Baby Bear have like the similar vibe where they're very like eclectic and how like they dress or like how they
Mhm.
look and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just think it was like very neat. It's like very fun too,
Mhm.
just with like how they kind of are cohesive, but also you're like, this is like an odd family.
Yeah. I love that. Like it's cohesive, but also like they have their own little specific like details.
Yeah, because it's like, I think it's interesting too, because like if you put Goldilocks, Baby Bear, and like the dad like together, you'd be like, oh, that's a very tough family. But then like the mother's there, and she's like very like calmer too. And then like same thing with like Goldilocks is the only human. Like they each have like one thing that kind of feels like very separate from the other, but like the way like at least like you could group three of them each makes it feel cohesive.
Mm-hmm. For sure, yeah. I think, let's see. Do you have thoughts about Jack's design? Because it's giving Kingpin.
Jack is, I think it's a good design.
Yeah.
It's like intimidating enough, but also it's really goofy.
It's so silly.
Like, for people who don't know, the Jack Horner thing is like he's the guy who sticks his thumb in the pies and pulls out the plum and everything. Which like I always get him confused with Georgie Porgy for some which makes sense because the rhyme was like Georgie Porgy pudding pie.
Oh yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, but like Jack Horner's the one who sat in the corner, just the thumb in. He's like, oh. So he has like these massive hands.
Right. I love that like the marking or like the pie like cream is still like on his like thumb.
It's stained.
It's
it's such a good detail.
It is.
Like, and it's not even like both. It's like one thumb.
Yeah.
It's
so
just
good. It's not the other one. Just that one thumb.
Yeah. And like he's like all purple and like he has like he has very goofy proportions.
Yeah.
He's kind of built like, I'm trying to think, like I don't know why. Like, have you seen that? I keep referencing other stuff. Have you seen that show, Robot and Monster on Nickelodeon?
No, actually, no.
It's like it's like not old. It's like 2012, I think.
Wow, 2012. What a decade.
I think he's built like the monster from that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I need to get a visual.
Yeah.
But like, I can imagine.
he's like very like hand heavy. I think his legs are really like tiny. He's built like a Kim Possible principal. He's built like a guy in Kim Possible.
Stop. That's so funny.
He has tiny legs, but like a very huge upper body, and his head's like squat enough, and his face is like scary enough.
Yeah.
And he also has this weird ass stupid bowl cut. Like, it's a really good design.
It just kind of what makes him like stand out as a character, but also like of how evil he is.
Yeah,
basically.
He has like more literal shape language than everyone else too. Because everyone because everyone else is more realistically proportioned.
Yeah,
which is like again typical. Like Shrek is usually like more realistically proportioned characters, and then there's always like that one person who's like so off that you're like, what the fuck?
Like Lord Farquaad.
Yeah. Even then, for Lord Farquaad's very realistically proportioned for his height.
Yeah.
Right. But like, as you like watch more Shrek stuff, they get more crazy with the designs. Because like, or like if they do like crazy designs, they proportion them in a way. I think it's just because his hands are so big.
Jack is like, his design is off the rails.
It's off the rails, but it's really good, and it fits in well with the characters.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, just because I'm saying like he's not proportioned like everyone else. Him and Dev are like, there's very strong shape language anyways throughout like the whole thing, because like even though if a character's realistically proportioned, they still have something that's like ridiculous about them, and like either on them or like on their face.
Yeah.
So like Perito, like he looks like a normal dog. He just has these really weird big ass eyes. Puss's hat is like extended a lot. Like it's like huge now because his old hat was like tiny.
Yeah.
I mean Kitty Softpaw she doesn't really have anything like crazy on her. Goldilocks has like these huge like hair puffs, these two long braids and stuff. Like I think the character design's really good, and I know that she and Kim helped out with character design because I saw that he posted some stuff on his. I think he was the main character designer.
Ooh,
from my understanding, which he's worked on a lot of stuff, a lot of movies.
Wow, really?
Like every time I get a new art book, he's always in it.
Oh my god, one way or another.
I know he did work for Spider-Verse.
Right. Oh, I remember you telling me. Okay, yeah.
I don't know if he did work for Big Hero 6.
That one honestly makes sense, though.
Yeah, I think he did some. I might also just be referencing my own book, so I might not remember. I don't remember who done some for like some things. But I know he definitely did Spider-Verse. He's done this, and he's done something else I've watched like kind of like in the past decade.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the character design is neat. Even the human characters look really good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think they just really took a good amount of time, like to the character design.
Yeah,
because it's really, really good.
Yeah, I think also coming from like a movie, because they honestly could have just like reused the models and tweaked them a little from the previous. Like, again, 2 of these characters were already in the previous movie.
Mm-hmm.
They could have just used those old models, tweaked them a little bit, and just like, well, but they said no, we're gonna like do a different art direction. We're gonna give them like new designs, like
as they should.
Yeah, and I thought that was like very like smart. Which again, like you have to update like models, especially for like 3D stuff too,
because it's like ever evolving.
Yeah, like 3D is a very interesting like medium to me for animation,
right?
Just because of how like even like when something's like at its peak at that moment, they're still like they're like, oh no, it could be more realistic.
Right?
Yeah, because I don't know, I find it very fascinating, but I just admired that like they kind of had like this mission to make it so visually distinct. Which like again, like I think it's like also there's a Spider-Verse trend going on, but like I think like it's also pushing people to make films that look so visually distinct. Like, you know, like Turning Red looks very like different from like a lot of like Disney films.
Oh yeah,
like especially when you watch it, it looks very different because like they're very like they have like a 3D Cal art style. Cal art style is stupid, by the way.
For real.
Yeah, so stupid. Agreed. Like they're very like bean shaped. It's very cute.
Yeah,
and like squishy. And I really like it. I'm glad that like I'm glad that Spider-Verse exists because it really like put a fire under people's asses visually.
No, really, a fire in their asses.
Yeah, because like for a while I was like, okay, yeah, because everyone wants to be like look more like Disney, where it's like very like cartoony proportions, but like very realistic textures. And I thought that looks fine. I think it looks great. I just like variety.
Also agree. I think like obviously Spider-Verse was the blueprint, and I think more movies are like doing that now, or like now like executives of like different animation companies are now paying attention from this new style, because I think I remember having a conversation with my partner about it, but it was like how many risks like this like new groundbreaking animation technique took, and also like of how skeptical it is, and just the way that like everybody wants to be Disney, everybody wants to be realistic.
Yeah.
But like in this film, like they do such a good job from taking those techniques and putting them into good use, rather than just picking and choosing randomly about
like,
what they want to use.
Like, even though like we keep saying it like it compares to Spider-Verse, it's still very like its own identity.
Yeah,
because like again, like Spider-Verse, it's like more like an eclectic like mix of like real life mediums like being used as inspiration, because it's supposed to emulate like graffiti, right? Versus like Puss in Boots, where it's like more like it feels more like an oil painting in Puss in Boots.
Oh yeah,
like,
yes,
which helps with like kind of like that fairy tale era, because like during that time, oil paintings are like I'm pretty sure like the norm for like taking pictures, because there wasn't a camera really.
Yeah,
so I think that's why it helps with like the fairy tale thing, because you think of like those like museum paintings and everything, how like they drew everything. It's like blended well enough, but also you see those like strokes, versus like Spider-Verse, where everything feels very blocky and how they do it, and so it feels more like a comic book. But yeah, I like the art direction.
Me too. Like I also agree, because like Spider-Verse is very much so like collage-y.
Yeah,
and then like we were just talking about, Puss in Boots still has that distinctive like illustrative paintery like book-ish like kind of like look to it.
Yeah, like I think like again, like it definitely took inspiration from Spider-Verse, but like I think that they crafted it so well that it made it their own, because they were like, okay, they took inspiration from comic books, let's do like oil painting or like something else. I think that's neat. Like I like seeing inspirations and things.
Exactly, we love to see it. If there isn't anything else, so I had like a question, but if you had something to say about the art and animation,
I think it's neat. I hope they do more.
That leads to my next question then, of any like future predictions about like DreamWorks itself, about like whether or not they're going to kind of like continue this kind of like art style or something similar to that, or if they're going to, or is Puss in Boots 3 coming out, or are they going to move on to the next Shrek movie since they hinted at it at the end?
I already know some intel. So Shrek 5 has been confirmed for a few years now.
Shrek 5, let's go.
So I'm assuming that when they went to, so at the end of the movie they go to Far Far Away.
Just to visit some old friends.
Yeah, it was like, and then you see the Far Far Away sign.
And then the Shrek music theme starts playing.
All you hear is what was the song that started playing? Because it wasn't All Star. It was not All Star that played.
Yeah, no, it was like just the theme that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the DreamWorks. I call it the DreamWorks opening song.
The DreamWorks opening song.
Which, by the way, the DreamWorks opening's different now.
Yeah,
how do you feel about it?
I'm kind of just miss like just the spelling of DreamWorks and just the guy just chilling on the moon, which he still does. But I'm like, okay, it's like showing your different projects from DreamWorks. It's like the Marvel thing where it shows different projects. But I'm like,
I think Marvel movies ruined like the company card. I'll say it.
That's fair. Yeah. No, that's valid.
Yeah, because I I think it's nice. I think it's nicely animated. The fact that we saw Shrek was really funny.
Yeah, no, they're like,
because Shrek's just like
they're at the end.
But I hate the way it's done.
Yeah.
Like not hate. I don't like that word.
I think it would have been okay if Boss Baby didn't show up in the middle of it, because I was thrown off by that.
Boss Baby trolls the Shrek, and like it was
I repressed that Boss Baby was there.
I think also because like the DreamWorks logo too, like when we were growing up, the logo always changed depending on the movie sometimes. So like in Shark Tale, the worm.
Yeah, the worm.
And then for Penguins of Madagascar, they took the boy out from the moon. They snatched him.
I love that.
They snatched him and they sat on that moon, and then the movie started. Like I think
they took it. They stole the show.
Yeah,
they stole the car.
Now the boy's getting off them. I'm like, go back to your moon.
Go back, please. But, no, really. He's taking a longer time to go to that moon now.
Yeah, he's like on a star. I'm like, damn, why can't I'm like, you're just chilling up there. Why are you going places?
Right. Come on now.
Yeah, it was
You're
funny.
doing more work.
Yeah, I'm like, it's funny when we keep getting snatched from oblivion.
Oh, really? That's so funny. But, I have to rewatch.
Yeah, I don't remember if it's the Madagascar. I remember if it's the Penguins of Madagascar. It's one of the movies that they're in that they do that. Okay. And it's so funny.
Yeah, I forgot they did that with their cards, because now it made me think about like with How to Train Your Dragon. They use Toothless as the moon. Yeah. Oh. That was so cute.
Yeah, I think it also depends on the movie.
Yeah.
Too, because it's not for every movie.
Yeah, right, okay.
Wait, no, I think for Rise of the Guardians, I think the boy was Jack Frost. I think. Don't quote me on that, because Jack Frost, he looks at the man in the moon. And the movie
true.
And stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Shrek 5's coming out.
Yeah.
Which is supposed to be a soft reboot for the franchise.
Interesting.
So I wonder what that means for them.
I wonder that too.
Because like, is it like the babies won't exist anymore, or like, is it like the babies are still there, but like, I wonder what they mean about. Like, specifically for that franchise, I wonder what they mean.
Mm-hmm.
With DreamWorks in general, I think they're doing good right now. I think they're just experimenting, which I like. Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, also they're doing Kung Fu Panda 4.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Which I haven't seen the third one, so.
Yeah, I only watched it once in theaters. I thought it was cute.
Yeah, I saw the first one in theaters. I don't know if I saw the second one.
I remember seeing the second one in theaters too.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. I think I also agree. Like, I love that they're still kind of like experimenting, because I feel like they had such a, not a low point, but like a middle ground when Trolls and Boss Baby came out.
Yeah, again, nothing against those movies or the people who made them.
I'm against Boss Baby.
Okay, she's against Boss Baby. I just want to get hired.
Valid. Wait, I'll take that back. I need to get hired too.
We love Boss Baby.
Yeah, we love Boss Baby. This episode is sponsored by Boss Baby.
Goo goo gaga.
Crying.
Blah blah blah.
Blah blah blah. Exactly.
But No, I think like I hope that from my understanding, they're gonna do more experimental stuff. I think it'll be like with Shrek being a soft reboot. I think that'll be an easier transition with Kung Fu Panda 4. I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I wonder that too.
Because like again, I don't mind the more realistic like textures and everything for their style. Because I think that they do it well when they do it and everything. I think it'll be very interesting just lineup wise. Because also I know there's a Kung Fu Panda show out right now that's not Legend of Awesomeness.
Oh man.
And I know a lot of people hate this one bear character.
In that show?
Yeah, and as in a lot of people, I mean the 3 people I know who watch it online. So, I don't know what they're gonna do with Kung Fu Panda 4, because like he already found his birth family, right?
Yeah, like he found like his home, like his actual home, like place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wonder what will 4 be like, because with all the sequels, like sequel DreamWorks films I've seen, so Shrek franchise, and the first 2 How to Train Your Dragon movies, and then the first 2 Kung Fu Panda movies.
Awesome.
Because like the Shrek franchise, by the time they got to 4, it was basically like It's a Wonderful Life, but for Shrek because he just hates his family, which I was like, that's an interesting way to go. Like it makes sense thematically, but like in like How to Train Your Dragon 3, like the second movie ends with him like becoming the leader. I think the third movie is him releasing all the dragons finally, because it's like no more codependency stuff like that. I don't know how Kung Fu Panda 4 will turn out from my understanding.
Yeah, me too. I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, and then I think also DreamWorks, I'm wondering, like, I think DreamWorks was the one with the, like, Gendy Tarkovsky movie about the shadow. I think they're the ones with the rights to it. I don't know what's up with what's gonna go for DreamWorks, like, story-wise at all.
Yeah.
But I think art direction, I think it'll be fun to see them experiment a bit more. I think like with the state of like movie animation too, like since everyone's like kind of like in their very experimental era, I think that'd be very. I mean, Sony's always just kind of been like that. Would be very honest. Sony's just kind of like that.
Wait, what?
Sony.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because like I mean, they've always like Sony's always had like a blend of like 3D and 2D.
Yeah.
With difference, cause like the Peanuts movie and then like that one Smurfs movie.
Right. Yeah.
And stuff. So
what about the Emoji Movie?
Don't talk to me about that.
You got it, boss.
Yeah, I'm the boss, baby.
You're the. No, my nightmares are coming to life.
Goo goo gaga.
No, please, boss, baby. I apologize for my actions. Forgive me.
Goo goo gaga.
Jump scare.
But I don't know. I think it'd be very interesting to see the progression of DreamWorks too, especially I think for us because we haven't like. I think there's a third Trolls movie coming out. I think, which I haven't seen the second one. I know Red Velvet's in it.
In the second?
Yeah.
Whoa.
They play the K-pop trolls.
Wow.
And like I think Wendy voices the main character troll in Korea.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang. They got their DreamWorks money.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm very curious to see where they go. But like
yeah.
I'm excited right now.
Me too. I think with their like this past years in 2022 projects with the bad guys and Puss in Boots, I also have like high hopes of them like continuing to experiment with different art styles and going and pushing like the extra mile for better like storytelling.
Yeah.
Which I'm really excited for. And then with Shrek, like I'm also curious to see like what's gonna happen, or like what the future holds for the Shrek universe, because I love that, because like I think most of us grew up with like fairy tales and stuff like that, and I kind of love when people or creators bring like characters together and seeing how that goes and how dynamics like occur that you don't really see or like don't expect. And so like it just makes me really excited, because like when the scene happened when they're like on the ship to go to far away, I was like out of my seat cheering, because I was like, yes, I'm so hyped.
I realized something.
Yeah.
So like we haven't gotten a Shrek movie in like I think almost a decade.
Yeah.
And then also I realized that after that, like during that decade, Shrek has just become like a really big meme. So I think we're getting our first like big Shrek. I mean, I think the first Shrek movie that we got post meme was Shrek 4. Because, like, I think Shrek is Life came out right before it or something. But, like, I think it's going to be very interesting, especially with now the new legacy of Shrek.
Yeah.
Like, being, like, kind of cemented as, like, this goofy, like... I mean, it is goofy. Like, I'm not saying it's not goofy, but I think, like, especially, like, after, like... I think after Shrek is Life, everything just, like, really tilted.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, there's a I think Shafrilla's like the guy he does like a bunch of stuff on YouTube. He mentioned like, yeah, no, like Shrek kind of became a meme at a certain point, and like no one remembers how good the actual movies are.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it'll be interesting to see how they handle that, and then also like just knowing like there's some people who just like never lived in the time when Shrek was respected. I think that's really funny.
Man, you're right.
Yeah.
Like, just thinking about it now is, like, shocking. Because I think, too, as, I think about, like, my thoughts on Shrek previously.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I grew up with the movies and stuff, and I thought they were always fun and funky. And, like, the reason, I think the meme culture that shaped Shrek to be, like, oh, this goofy, like, character and stuff like that. Like, it also was like another reason why I wasn't like, oh, Puss in Boots, yeah, I'm so excited. Yes, I'm there for that movie. Before watching it and seeing how actually good it is, and then realizing how good also like the Shrek movies are because it's like making fun of like fairy tale movies.
No.
So I'm also interested in seeing that.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, no, I think DreamWorks too. Do you have any wishes for DreamWorks movie wise at all?
No more Boss Baby movies.
Is that it?
Anyway, that's a good question because I love what they're doing so far. I think I'm also just curious as to see what they make. No, not really. Like, just I'm excited to see what kind of like art styles that they would like implement in their own work.
Yeah.
Also, too, like for continuing to like push the extra mile for like storytelling, not just for like to make the kids happy, but also like making it more family friendly centric or like just like anybody like I don't
like
sometimes
general
audiences right like something that everybody can relate to because I think they did a really good job with this one. Yeah, because I think once people start to realize like animation is not just like genre, it's not a genre at all, like it's a medium itself.
Yeah,
and there are genres within the medium. Like I think DreamWorks would be able to take that extra step. Yeah. Besides, like, Disney.
Yeah, I think DreamWorks is probably going to be the one to, like, I think DreamWorks or Sony are, like, even more, like, independent studios, because I still need to watch, like, the new Guillermo del Toro Pinocchio movie.
Same.
Because it's on my list. I've just been very busy.
It's fine. Same here.
But I think out of, like, the big, like, major, like, 3D studios, I think DreamWorks could do it. Like, personally, I want to see DreamWorks attempt to specifically do like a teen oriented movie or like a more like mature rating movie. Like the movie doesn't have to be like MA, it just like
a little more for
like older
audience.
I mean like Puss in Boots I think is like one of the closest ones, and like also again like their movies always toe a line.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think, like, it would be hard for them. But I want to see it, like, specifically. I think. And then I also want, I want a Megamind thing.
Me too.
It doesn't have to be a movie. It could be, like, a short.
Please.
Like, I'll be fine with that.
No, really, same. I would do anything for any Megamind content. I will agree with you on that. That's also another thing.
Yeah. But, like, I think that they would be, like, a good candidate if we want to start, like, especially getting like more broad like audience for animation. I think DreamWorks is gonna be like really good. Like not so much broad, but like getting into like niches that aren't like fulfilled in like mainstream ones, right? Because like I think I know I discussed this in our like HBO Max thing, but like I think like especially like in like the Western, like North America, like sphere, like animation wise, we don't have a lot for like specifically teenagers. We don't have a lot like both for shows and movies. And then like for teenagers and adults, we don't have like really anything for movies except for like some one-off like ones that aren't as popular. So I want to see DreamWorks attempt that. Like genuinely, I think that they would do a good job.
Yeah.
Again, Puss in Boots is like really close because we saw blood.
We did.
A tiny bit.
Just
Like,
a tiny bit. And then
I sat there, I was like, oh.
Right. And then we heard some bleeps here and there.
Yep. That dog be swearing.
The dog be swearing, but we love him for that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was like, I feel like they were really pushing to PG-13, and I'm really surprised DreamWorks would do that. But at the same time, it's like, when you watch Shrek, it's like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. They said ass in Shrek.
Right.
And also, like, Puss literally went on, like, a whole, like, I'm pretty sure he, like, does a swearing rant in Shrek 2 when he falls off that horse.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah.
I would also be curious to see. I don't think it's like something that I really want, but like it when you were saying about like more teen centric like content, it made me think about like how good they would be at like more realistic grounding like stories. Not like art wise, obviously, but like stories that don't relate to fantasy, since like DreamWorks, well, I mean with the word DreamWorks, right?
Yeah.
It gives you a sense of like, oh, this is, different from your average like story or like life, and it's like beyond like realism.
Yeah. I think it would be interesting for them to do like a magic realism type thing. So like like turning reds like that, or like Ghibli movies are very much rooted in that. Like I think that would be it would be very interesting, especially considering like, and of course like we know DreamWorks is like the very boisterous, like in your face, fuck you Disney like studio, kind of like, at least like that's how we like saw them growing up. But like I think it would be interesting to do like a film where like even in marketing it still feels like very like grounded and everything, because like marketing of like even of like the most like calm like DreamWorks films are still very like, let's put a bunch of jokes in there, which is fine. Like I think DreamWorks is very funny, but I think it'll be interesting to see them just kind of like do like a weird like 180 and like really like hone in on stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. I also agree. I was just wondering, wait, do you remember if Home is DreamWorks? The one with the alien and Rihanna plays.
I think it is.
Okay, yeah. So more like that, like I didn't realize it until now when we were just talking, and then do you know the film Abominable or something like that? Yeah, is that also DreamWorks?
So it's,
or is it Sony?
So technically it's DreamWorks for American markets, because they got like a spin-off studio, I think China, that made it, but they got the rights, or like they
to distribute,
but I also think they technically own the studio.
Interesting.
So like technically it is DreamWorks, but like specific wise it's not like the like technically like yes and no.
I got you. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
That movie did not get any marketing.
Yeah, right. I know. Like I haven't seen it.
I haven't either.
Also, we should watch the movie sometime.
Yeah,
then.
we're talking about it. Didn't get any
Podcast
marketing.
episode.
Did you watch it? No.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's a whole other thing of marketing.
Oh yeah, we can talk. Oh god, Strange World.
Man,
that movie got no marketing.
Nope.
And Jabuki was in it. She doesn't know who Jabuki is. I know who Jabuki is.
I don't know who
that was wild. I said, how is Jabuki in the movie, but no one knows that?
Man, that actually, yeah. Oh, what about the marketing for Puss in Boots? Was there a lot? I didn't really hear much until like people were just starting to talk about it, and that like originated from just people talking about it.
I knew it was coming out. And I saw like, I didn't see any trailers because also I just don't watch cable. And also all my streaming things don't, for some reason, ever advertise me animated films anymore, really. I don't think the marketing was like that big, but they had really good marketing tactics though for older audiences.
Oh yeah,
because they did like a crossover of Hot Ones, like the YouTube show where like the guy, he eats the chicken wings.
Oh yeah.
But like they've been doing, I noticed more marketing for older audiences is very interesting, because they did that. And there's a TikTok where it had Puss in Boots and Kitty Softpaws dancing.
Oh my god.
No, but it was like really
Love.
cool because like you kind of saw like the difference in how they danced in the animation.
Mhm.
So Puss dances. This is so weird. I'm sorry, I'm going to get you. Puss dances more with his hips,
Mhm.
and then Kitty dances more with her chest.
Ooh.
So it's a
okay.
very interesting like thing in like how they convey character through animation. So yeah, that's all the promos I really saw besides like me already kind of knowing it was coming out, then forgetting it was coming out, and then hearing it came out. I was like, oh right.
Right.
Yeah, like I
Interesting.
don't know anything about the TV spots, but like we didn't see any when we were watching Owl House last night.
Yeah.
They were
no.
just doing Disney commercials, to be fair.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. That's cool that they did that though. I don't really pay attention to anything marketing at this point besides like watching trailers like when I'm at the movies or just like seeing like how people are like reacting to like specific films or TV shows because I usually just pay attention to like what's I guess quote unquote popular and like what organically comes from just like audience reactions, I guess.
And I'm a person who just kind of scourge around looking for media, and then like if something looks interesting, I usually like try. So I don't. It's like I still follow like popular like trends, of course, because like I watch like Turning Red. I really like Turning Red. I watch. Yeah, like it's just like more so for me. Just the way I navigate stuff too is just harder for me sometimes to know some mainstream stuff unless if like Kate tells me or like other friends tell me.
Yeah, also agree, yeah. Well, we're just really excited for what DreamWorks has to offer.
Yeah.
This is gonna be awesome. I can't wait for the Shrek universe to expand.
Yeah.
Were there any final thoughts about this film?
No, I just really liked the film. I mean, considering we talked about it for 2 hours,
Chef's Kiss. Well, I think this was our first 2 hours, maybe? Or was it the finale?
We've gotten close before.
Okay, yeah.
I think because also I know you when you were editing. I don't know if how much do you usually cut down a lot back?
I usually do, yeah.
Yeah, so I think this might be the one where we actually reached 2 hours because, like, I mean, all the stuff we might cut out. I don't think it's a lot this time.
Yeah,
but I don't really have anything else to say.
Right, I agree. This film was really cool and really like exceeded my expectations of what a DreamWorks film is all about. I mean, like, obviously DreamWorks is so good at like most of their movies, except for Boss Baby.
But so anti-Boss Baby.
No more Boss Baby.
Your gonna be the first day on the Boss Baby TV show.
I'm gonna cry. I swear, DreamWorks, I have no actual like hate for Boss Baby.
She has no beef with Boss Baby. I mean, she does, but like it's not like personal.
Yeah,
personal.
exactly.
Like,
my brother just makes jokes all the time, and it makes me laugh.
Yeah, please hire Kate.
Please hire Shay because they're real.
Yeah, Kate's also real.
Thanks, we're both real people talking right now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah. Just to like basically summarize, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was a really good film, and y'all should go watch it because of how amazing the storytelling and art and everything else is. And just a reminder of how, the life that you live is better spent with the people that you love and the world that you're in the beautiful world that you're surrounded in, instead of living in fear of death all the time, which is a very valid feeling.
Yeah.
But that is also always supported with the people and the support that you have around you.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's the empath in me. So yeah, thank you all for listening to this episode of the 1224 podcast. Let us know your thoughts and comments about this film, whether you'd be on Spotify or YouTube or any other streaming platform that is able to let you comment on things. But yeah, this has been the 1224 podcast. I'm Kate.
And I'm Shay.
And we'll see you all in the next episode. Bye.
Bye. Hashtag Pussy Sweep.
Pussy Sweep!